Gentlemen, another night of football fury is upon us. Week 17 discussion. Fellas, we're closing out the regular season. What a week 17 it was. Had some surprises, had some nice finishes, had some people making it you didn't think we're going to make it. Now we got to talk about it a little bit later. We got freaking Jon Gruden going to freaking Oakland possibly. We're going to talk about that. We got Marvin Lewis extended all madness. Now we got the freaking wild card weekend to talk about. Fellas, what is going on tonight? Tim and Fogs. What's good, gents?
The season is over. The playoffs is here. We got coaches getting fired left and right. We have a Hall of Fame coach returning to the NFL. Oh, my God. The hype is here. NFL draft is near. Excited. Too excited.
Yeah. Dallas isn't in the playoffs. It's a beautiful thing.
You had to start and say it. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. I'm gonna enjoy watching the Eagles in the playoffs. I'm gonna enjoy y'all getting so pissed off.
I'm not gonna get pissed off. I have no expectations. Nick Foles ain't gonna do anything. We'll be on the couch. We'll be on the couch soon enough.
Oh, okay.
Listen,
I feel better. I feel so much
cement
better.
foot Foles over here. Cement foot Foles. We're not going anywhere.
I feel so much better. You know, hey. I mean, and we got a special guest.
Hey there. How's it going, folks? How are you today?
We're doing good, John. We're glad to see you. Thank you for coming on to 2MW.
I'm glad to be here, folks. I'll tell you that much. What's going on, Tim and Fox there?
What's happening, John? Quarterback guru.
What can I say? You know, long hours in the office, you know, but what you guys got for me? I only got a little bit of time here.
Well, but John, I want to ask you, how excited are you to be coming back to the Raiders? You know, your former team. I mean, how do you feel? You've been away for a long time.
Man, I tell you what, I sat in this chair for a long time looking over a lot of film, a lot of QBs, a lot of teams. I haven't had a special QB like this Derek guy in a long time, I tell you what. So I was sitting in my chair here, big thinking chair here, where I watch a lot of QBs do this and that. And I hit him with pool sticks, and I'm just thinking to myself, you know, I love Oakland, and I like the GM over there, Davis. He's a great guy. You know what, man? I got to get back into coaching. I really do. This is something I need to get back. I'm not that old. I'm above that. Let's do this, fellas. You know what? I'm all in. Let's go, Raiders.
All right. Well, I got a question for you, John. Listen, as an Eagles fan, I watch you do your magic with a limited amount of talent as an OC over there in Philly. We saw what you did in Tampa Bay. What are you going to do to fix this Oakland defense?
Fox, you know what? That's a really packed question right there. I only got so much time here. So what I'm going to tell you first is it's all about the coaching staff. You know, people underestimate the coaching all the time. Look at fucking Ben McAdoo. He ain't done shit. Now I'm going to come in. I'm going to put on a pair of glasses just like he did. Take a visor, spin it backwards. And I'm going to show Derek Carr how to play through a back injury. And all these knuckleheads how to catch a damn ball. It's your freaking job. You're a wide receiver. Why don't you catch the freaking ball and bring it to the end zone? The big chalky white line, cross that thing with the football in your hands. All right, fellas? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, John. Good luck. All
right, fellas.
Man, that was awesome. Jon Gruden here, giving us the lowdown on everything. That was great.
That was pretty cool, yeah. Never heard something like this before.
I mean, Raiders fans at 2MW, like Tommy, Kyrie, Tashoma. I mean, listen, they got to be excited. You know, hopefully they saw this interview and they're like, you know what? We can't wait to get things started. Wow, he's gonna change up at Raider Nation. He's gonna change it up.
Hopes are high.
I mean, our first topic of the night. Well, can Jon Gruden make the Raiders contender? Fog, I know you put your head down and you're like, guess what? Why not? I mean, you know, going through his track record, okay, In his third season with the Raiders, they went 12-4. Of course, the first 2 years you got to start building up. They had 2 back-to-back 8-8 seasons. 12-4 the third year. 10-6 their fourth year. 12-4 their fifth year. After that, he went on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First year, they went 12-4. They went to the Super Bowl. They won. And I recall he had a guy like Keyshawn Johnson, who was probably one of the slowest wide receivers ever to play the game. He's having over 100 receptions, 100 yards, and only 1 touchdown that year. So, that was his first year. Then after that, they went a little downhill. Of course, guys going to be leaving in free agency. Some trades happen, but he had the Buccaneers at a pretty good flow, Josh. And I really do think with the Raiders, what they have right now, they're not so far away, especially in that division. Perfect guy to come here. I think they're contenders.
You know what, Jon Gruden, he went 38-26 in his 4 seasons as the Raiders head coach. These reports surface every year, and we all do our synchronized eye rolls because it gets as tiring as hearing that Joe Thomas is a hot candidate before the trade deadline damn near every season. But things are starting to shake up in Oakland, and these little instances and reports coming out, they make you squint a little bit at your computer monitor, making, is there a little more validity to these statements than in years past? I was one for saying the Raiders should make the healthy choice by getting rid of Del Rio, who, in my opinion, is just a slightly above average coach. He's never even seen a division title in his entire NFL coaching career. He did have the 124 year, but still second to the Chiefs. Del Rio did lead the Raiders to a winning record and the playoffs for the first time since 2002, which led him to getting an extension in February. So when he announced that he had been fired on Sunday, it looks like the stars were starting to align for what seemed to be the inevitable. Now, if we're going to sit here and criticize head coaches based off their coaching record of playoff accomplishments, which Del Rio has a 1-3 playoff record in 12 damn seasons, then it seems warranted. Even non-Bengals fans today are all saddened by the Marvin Lewis extension news. But he's got a 7-7 playoff record. I mean, hey, it's 500. We're hearing that the Raiders are so adamant and keen on making the Gruden an offer, he can't resist. They're going to throw ownership stakes into it. Based on Ian Rappaport, it seems the Raiders are confident that Gruden will say yes eventually, though both sides are being careful about doing so before they comply with the Rooney Rule, and he's still on the books to broadcast the game Saturday for ESPN. Mark Davis, he's been playing his games with the media. He's stating that the rumors come about every year concerning Gruden, blah, blah, blah. But there's tidbits coming out more each day that it appears Gruden really is planning to call the plays and may want to hire Paul Gunther, John Morton, and Rich Gannon, and some others. So we live in a world where we scrutinize every statistic and numbers for both players and coaches. Is Gruden an upgrade to Del Rio? I mean, he does have a Super Bowl 37 notch under his belt. So, but in the last 6 years in Tampa, he was 45-51, and he was 0-2 in the playoffs. So there's a lot of redeeming qualities about the coach. I mean, under Gruden, the Raiders started 8-8 in the season of 98-99. He dug him out of last place. And once Gruden got his quarterback in Rich Gannon, he led the Raiders to the top of the West, and he made the playoffs in 3 consecutive seasons. After racking up a 40-20 record, which includes the playoffs, in 4 seasons with the Raiders, he then replaced Dungy with the Bucs in 2002. So back then, the Bucs had interviewed several other coaches, believe it or not, and they believed they had a deal locked in place with Bill Parcells. But he eventually backed out because reportedly, due to his choice for general manager Mike Tannenbaum, he told him not to accept the job because of salary cap difficulties, what Tampa was about to endure. So Gruden arrives. He then retools the entire offense basically with the addition of numerous free agents, and his persistence for fixing that offense, the underperforming offense, basically helped Tampa's defense ball out again to another #1 rank, which led them to a 12-4 season. And then the Bucs, we all know how they went in the playoffs. Their per game point differential of 23 points in their victories were tying the 92 Cowboys for the highest average playoff margin in the Super Bowl winner in the free agency area. So the following season, we can recall the front office tensions between Gruden and general manager Rich McKay. The Bucs ended up having a lot of opening day starters end up in injured reserve, and McKay was eventually shown the door in December of that year. Then came the risk with Keyshawn Johnson, where he was activated those last 10 games, and he got eventually traded to Dallas for Joey Galloway. There could be some scrutiny on Gruden, whether it be the Super Bowl team he had with Tampa was more a result of Dungy's inheritance, or that he's been removed from the game too long and he should stay in the booth. But he's only 54. He's still young. And when talked about among NFL coaching age average, not that Sean McVay really helps the NFL age average for coaching anymore, but Gruden has shown that he can be successful when given the quarterback he likes to work with, and he has a GM in place that he has a good relationship with. He led the Bucs to first place finishes in the South in 05 and 07, and even with a horrible salary cap issue they had. And he was also part of selecting Rookie of the Year Cadillac Williams in 05, and even lost his starting quarterback Brian Greasy halfway through the year, and still finished the last 10 games at 6-4 and made the postseason. I mean, ultimately, it seems like, the owner has a huge liking for Gruden, the same for him and Oakland. So what makes it more appealing to him is during Gruden's QB camp that he hosts, he told him he wanted him as a QB, Derek Carr. Now, I'm sure it was mostly just subtle joking to give high praise back then, but in the same, it seems like he would take him in a heartbeat, even back on those Oakland or Bucs teams from 15, 20 years ago. He seems like he'll be calling all the shots, and if he does take the gig overall, I think it's great for football as a whole. So I'm on board, and I think he can make them contenders.
I don't think he can make them contenders. I think it's good for football. Josh, I agree with everything you just said. Can't elaborate it on it anymore. I agree with everything you just said. But the reason I don't think he can make them contenders, Tim's gonna love this. He went on the wrong team. The Jacksonville Jaguars would have been a team that he probably should have went to. The Jaguars are a team that I said 2 years ago that they're about 2 to 3 years away from being a contender. And last season was just a horrible season, a horrible setback, but they completely recovered. And they're still a young, solid team. The Raiders, on the other hand, there's no running back in place. Their wide receiving core is a mess because we don't know if Crabtree's coming back. And we've basically seen what Cooper is right now. I don't, unless someone puts stickum on his hands, I don't think he's going to be able to catch any better than what he's been catching right now. And then you look at the defense. This defense has been what it's been, mediocre. The only major difference, everyone was talking about how great the defense was. The only major difference between 2016 defense of Oakland Raiders and 2017 defense of the LA Raiders, turnovers. They forced 30 turnovers last season. They only forced 14 this season. Bottom of the league. What are you going to do to fix that? If you're a team that is relying on turnovers, you're not going to have sustained success in the NFL. We saw it happen with the Chicago Bears when they made their miracle run with Rex Grossman at quarterback to the Super Bowl. We saw it happen with the New Orleans Saints when they made their run and eventual Super Bowl victory against the Indianapolis Colts. They were the tops in turnovers, and it wasn't something that was sustainable. So if you're a defense that is heavily reliant on forcing turnovers, you're suspect. This isn't a top 10 defense. This isn't even a top 15 defense. This is a defense that yards, points allowed, passing, rushing, you're looking at a team that's ranked anywhere between 18 to 23 defensively. That's not going to win you a Super Bowl. And I don't care that you're adding Jon Gruden. He's got a lot of work to do, and he was fortunate enough. He did some building in Oakland when he was there, but he was fortunate enough to land in a great situation in Tampa Bay. And we're talking about a guy who's probably one of the most untested coaches in the NFL who's won a Super Bowl. I mean, you look at the records of some of the other coaches who've won Super Bowls, and then you look at him and you're going, he's not a real proven commodity as a head coach in the NFL.
Well, I want to say this, and I'm very surprised you said that, Fog. I was on the impression that you didn't respect Gruden as a coach. Is basically the team. You're basically saying that they won't be contenders because he has a lot of work, which is respectful. That's not, and that's a very good opinion on that. My thing, but Josh read some great things that he was able to work with Tampa Bay and with the Raiders, and before he went out to broadcasting, and now Derek Carr is the best quarterback he's ever had. Between Brad Johnson and Rich Gannon. Wide receivers, he has Amari Cooper, who is a young star. Yes, we don't know what's going to happen with Crabtree. You never know, he may take a pay. He's 30 years old. Normally, guys will rather be signed with their team that they know and go for cheaper. But yeah, he will get released because of his contract. It's huge. When I look at the Raiders situation, I have to look at, okay, what about the rest of the division? They're worse. So you can scratch. They don't even have a quarterback. Their coaching is in question right now. Yes, they're going to retain Vance, but it's in question. How about the Kansas City Chiefs? Josh's boy, Mahomes, likely may be the starting quarterback next year. That may hold them a little more back. Okay, let's go with the Chargers. Now, if the Raiders have to really worry about is one team, bad. It's not too bad. Jon Gruden, he's still young, like Josh said. When he started in this league, he was a young 37, similar to what McVay is with the Rams. He stepped away very early. He got that youth on his side still. I think with the Raiders, he can definitely do the damage, especially where we have Davis, the son, not the father, but the son, gonna do what John wants. I think we all get lost sometimes when we want to get coaches get fired. You got to understand. I want to use the Eagles as an example. Doug Peterson was basically saying when the Eagles acquired from the Miami Dolphins, this wasn't even discussed with Howie Roseman. Howie just came up with hey, who? Jed Jai, oh, wow, thank you. Relationship where goes out and make moves without telling the coach. I think that's a problem. As long as a GM and a coach are on the same page and discuss and decide, that's all you need. That's really all you need to succeed. When you're thinking red and you're thinking blue, together with the same color is a problem. I think Gruden made the right choice. But I do like the fact how you put Jacksonville, but here's the problem in Jacksonville. They have no quarterback. We don't know what's gonna happen there. Don't get me wrong, they
won a Super Bowl with Rob Johnson, for Christ's sake. You don't think he can Blake Bortles?
Rob Johnson. We're not saying you gotta be a brand name quarterback. But my God, even myself, I was pretty decent. You guys were telling me in the offseason, oh, he sucks. He really garbage. I'm telling you right now, he sucks. He really garbage. I mean, Chad Pennington throws better than him. And Chad Pennington got no arm. He has no arm.
Here's the thing. Jon Gruden is making a great decision coming back. Like I said, I say it's with the wrong team, but he's making a great decision coming back because how much more do you have left with New England? Brady's 40 years old. We've seen, history has shown us that any skill position player, it doesn't matter who they are, that proverbial fall off the cliff is quick. And it happens literally like overnight. You turn around and see a guy and you go, wow, he had a great season last season. Why is he struggling this season? Father Time catches up to you. You also got the Steelers. The Steelers window, this is their last hurrah. That's it. It's over. So the best teams in the AFC are basically done in the next 2 years. So he's coming back. If he can put something together, Tim, in Oakland, in Vegas, I should say, with the Raiders, they have a shot. I'm not saying that it's not possible. But I'm saying the best team that he could have possibly chosen to do that would have been the Jacksonville Jaguars, because they have a defense. They have something similar to what he fell into in Tampa Bay. The Raiders right now, they don't have a good defense. This is just a run-of-the-mill defense who did exceptionally well last season because, like I said, the turnover differential was insane. They were in top 5 last year. This year, again, they forced 14 turnovers. They're in the bottom, forget the bottom third. They're one of the bottom 2 teams as far as forcing turnovers are concerned. And the defense, it relatively hasn't changed much. So what is he going to do? Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes comes in. This kid might be a young stud. He might be more than what Alex Smith is. And if he is, this Kansas City team isn't bad. So he would have trouble in his own division to begin with.
Well, Josh, you got anything to say with that?
I mean, isn't this the only time we've really seen Derek Carr kind of struggle? Is with this apparent back injury that I'm guessing he's playing through, because I haven't seen anything in the past historically with Derek Carr that would give me anything otherwise to say about him for having these type of slumps, especially with his wide receivers aren't helping him out or bailing him out or giving him the yak and anything that Alex Smith is glorified with in Kansas. So I don't think you can solely rest the blame on Derek Carr himself. And when it comes to Jon Gruden, yeah, like you said, he won a damn Super Bowl with Rob Johnson. So to me, he's far and away much more of a QB whisperer than Jack Del Rio is, or Hugh Jackson, or anybody before there in Oakland. So people get sick of Andy Reid, and he's had back-to-back double-digit win seasons, but it's a high demand, give me success now type of league, and that's what sucks. You have to show you're ready. And people that get extended like Marvin Lewis, it just it blows your mind in a sense. But when I don't know, you could make an argument if you're pro Marvin Lewis because he does have a winning record. But there comes a point in time with me, I feel, within an organization that even if you do have a winning record, you got to change face. You got to at least just give a refreshment, whether it be not for the quarterback or the players, but at least for the damn fans, for the franchise, because that's who's supporting you. And if the fans are going to get sick of it, I can't wait to see Bengals home games. I just want to see like the influx of letters that come into Cincinnati, or how empty, or the season tickets being returned from Cincy fans. But I don't know. I actually have a lot of optimism for Gruden. I think he's very proactive with his players. I think you can see that within the QB camp. When I see a lot of other coaches, I feel they're very stagnant in their ways. They're more of like a sideline barker than Gruden. Gruden will go over, slap somebody in the face, and show them right then and there how to do something. I like that about a coach. I really like how he's hands-on. He'll get his own hands in the dirt, and he'll show you what the fuck you're messing up on and what the hell to do correctly. So I love his proactive spirit and personality. I think he's very gung-ho the way he is, and I think he's a hype man as well within a coach. So I think he's got a lot of very good tangibles about him that make him like a very good head coach. Altogether, those type of personalities. He can hype you up. He can talk to you directly like a mentor, a man, and a father figure. And he can also be on your side and just give you the most confidence in the damn world and say, let's go. It's you and me. Let's get this. Let's go win some championships together, man. So I would be excited if I was Oakland fans, Las Vegas fans, whatever you want to call yourselves. This should be exciting. We'll have to bookmark this video, see if I'm wrong or Fox is wrong. So this will be, this is why opinions are good. We get to revisit it later and see, what ends up happening. Tim, what do you feel? Is this going to make them better in the end?
I think so. Listen, another thing I was saying, the cap money. Right now, David Carr is the highest pay on that team, of course, $25 million. Khalil Mack's contract is up, all right? Mm-hmm. You're going to cut Crabtree, okay. Now, Marshawn Lynch, I don't think he's coming back. I really don't think he's coming back. Okay, that's not if John, especially if Jon Gruden taking over. You know another thing too about Jon Gruden, Josh, I want to point out. He watching him do the NFL draft previews where he's quarterbacks in other positions. I love the way he teaches. He gets a lot out of these guys for a regular show, and I don't think it is how you call it it's practice before they even do it. So I could imagine a whole season with these guys, with this man in the locker room. He's old school at that. Right now, you know what, Fog? You're right about one thing. Brady's about to retire. The Patriots might, they're going to take a little fall back to Steelers. I think the Raiders will be the team.
The AFC is prime for the taking in the next 2 years. It's just, I think he's got a lot of work to do. I wouldn't be so confident that this team in the next 2 seasons is a Super Bowl contender. Again, he's got to put it together, so we got to see. But he's got a lot of work to do. I'm not putting a lot of the blame on Derek Carr. He didn't. The offensive line didn't perform. The running game wasn't up to par. Play calling was just disgusting. But defensively, again, defense wins championships, and they don't have this high-powered offense. So where are you offsetting if you're not getting the turnovers? There has to be something to offset, something to balance it all. And there isn't that balance. You don't have that offensive firepower. And all you're doing is losing. These last 2 seasons, all they've done was lose players. The only thing they gained was Marshawn Lynch. Think about that. A guy who's going to be going into his 12th season in the NFL.
Well,
I don't know, man.
I'll say this, and the Raiders, the last season's Raiders team, that team was dangerous when they lost Derek Carr to a freak injury. That team was
it was Tim, but they were, again, defensively, they were nothing different last season than what they are this season. The only difference is they forced 26 more turnovers.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this. They got a lot of young guys on that team, a lot of young players on big roles, okay? We're talking about Carl Joseph, the safety, all right? You know what I'm saying? We got Conley, who got drafted out of Ohio State. Addressing those needs to get better. I think with Gruden there, it changes up the whole culture. These guys are gonna he's gonna put it together and put the right people around him at that. Don't say Del Rio, but Del Rio has coached before. And what was the result? Nothing. He coached Jacksonville, nothing there. He coached the Raiders, nothing here. Gruden, we all know, at least he had winning seasons. He gave his team chances to contend in the playoffs, and he got a championship. That's better than. At that time, remember, there was 5 teams. There was 5 teams in the division. At that, 5 teams: Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, and Detroit Lions. It was a little bit more different. So, listen. This right here, I think Gruden got this. I think he got this.
We'll see.
Absolutely.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next topic.
Ooh, top 5. Dead or alive.
NFL draft is approaching, gentlemen. We have the Browns #1 overall, 2 overall, the Colts #3 overall, #4 overall, and the Broncos at #5. And because Sean Sheldon fan requested, can we all please throw in the New York Jets? I'll do that for you. What are the top positions to take in the NFL draft?
You want to start off with just one, or you want to do 1 through 5?
Yeah, we do 1, 1, 1.
Okay, 1. The Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Well, their top needs for me, it's going to be quarterback. I'll go running back. corner. And the Browns have 5 draft picks inside the first 2 rounds, so they'll be looking at, you know, the skill positions for those primo athletes like the QB running back or the defensive back. So with the first pick, though, I believe ultimately they have to get their Q. Whatever, they have the pick of the litter. Stick with the number 1 pick. Pick your Q. Get your freaking franchise in order. Damn it, Browns.
How about you, Fogg?
Browns got to go quarterback first. The fact that you got a decent quarterback draft, there's about 3 or 4 guys in here that could possibly be franchise quarterbacks. Go for the quarterback. There's a lot of depth in the running back, and you could come back at the number 4 spot. And if no one takes Saquon Barkley or Nick Chubb, Kerryon Johnson from Auburn, or even after watching last night's Georgia game, I think the 2 running backs out of Georgia could be the next 2 hottest running backs that we've seen come out of the same college since Oklahoma State produced Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders. So,
that's a good one. Yeah, that kid Michael, he's fast.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Well, just because we all here love Carson Wentz, and the Eagles tease the whole league with Carson Wentz. The quarterback compared to Carson Wentz and Rosen, I think I'm agreeing with Josh and you, Fogg. Quarterback is the way to go, and that's it. You got to get your franchise quarterback to start off. New GM, Hugh Jackson's there. Quarterback. Yeah. Number 2, the New York Giants. I'm gonna say this. They remind me of where the Dallas Cowboys was with the top 4 pick. A playoff team that should not have been picking in the top 5. They only picking in the top 5 only because of injuries and relationship-wise with their head coach. In my opinion, the Giants got the hot seat. And I don't mean in a bad way. I mean in a beautiful way. Now, if you keep Eli Manning, do you get the weapons? What you do is, knowing that you're going to be a good team for a long time and you may never see a top 5 draft pick, do you take a quarterback now? Now, I've said this earlier in the week. I know some didn't agree with me. I'm not trolling. I know Sam Darnold is not a favorite. I only choose Sam Darnold only because if you're going to have Eli there, I think Eli could teach him. That's it. Josh, I'm not trolling. That's my thing.
Trolling.
No, I'm not trolling.
He's trying to get under your skin,
not
Josh.
Trolling.
Don't let him.
Listen to me.
Don't let him get away
trolling.
with this shit, Josh.
No, I'm keeping it real. Sam Darnold in the future, he's going to be a good prospect even if he goes back to USC. He's going to get better. But if he was to get drafted number 2, I would feel good behind Eli. Why? Eli's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He will kind of show him the ropes. They don't know what they got out of Webb. We haven't seen Webb play at all this year. I'm just born that way. But I'm going to go right now. If they keep Eli, they got Eli Manning right now, I'm going to say you get the best player available. I believe it's Saquon Barkley at number 2, the running back.
I tell you what, man, Sam Darnold, complete garbage. Don't even throw his freaking name around here, all right? I don't want to see none of that. That's freaking garbage. Seriously, though?
This is pre-recorded.
We can't deny offensive.
Jon Gruden was pre-recorded. Understand that. We did this off the air.
Yeah, that CGI is crazy. 2018. It's like, what can't you do on the computer? That was really him earlier, though. But there's no denying offensive tackle. Obviously, the number 1 need with this Giants team. Running back and quarterback is going to be something to say. Is Eli staying? Is he going? I mean, either way, they're going to need to find his successor. I don't know if they found that with 3rd rounder Davis Webb last year. He didn't suit it up really at all, and that's kind of alarming to show that he's a slow learner and doesn't know the playbook yet and just wasn't ready overall. They're still going to need to find a quality running back as well. When do they address the O-line? There's a lot of question marks being thrown around with this Giants team. Gettleman is the type to trade back in the draft. He did it in 14, twice in 15. and I believe again in 17. I can't remember. He did it 4 times though. I could see him doing it again here. To be honest with you, I could also see if Eli is definitely going to stay, I could see him drafting somebody like Saquon and then building through the draft later in like second, third rounds, some guards or tackles, and it's going to be interesting what Gettleman thinks when he reviews the tape, because we had games where when he shifted the O-line around, like Fluker to the right guard position, we had some games where Darkwa was having some ease running the ball, like $140, $150 in yardage. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It really is. I'm even up in arms with what I personally want to do. This whole time, I really do want Saquon. That would be an amazing weapon to give Eli, as he's really hasn't had a huge running back weapon since probably the tandem of like, Bradshaw Jacobs and Derek Ward when he was there for a short time. So when Eli has a running game, he ups his game because he loves the play action, and that's when he excels. That's when Eli is at his best in his career. It's tough, man. I would love Saquon, but I do not see Gettleman being that type of GM to go for a running back at number 2. I really don't. And I don't see us going for a tackle at number 2. Lane Johnson was a number 4, I believe, pick, and he's an absolute monster. So this Connor guy is going to have to be even better than Lane Johnson, and I'm not sure I can say that about the kid, the number 1 prospect tackle out of Texas. So this is tough, gentlemen. If I was Gettleman, I would honestly probably trade back again and get more picks to get either second rounders or more third rounders compiled up and get a nice above average team, compiled up with some mid-round picks.
Wow. I'm sorry, Fogg. You go, wow.
Listen, I second everything Josh just said.
Wow.
Completely, because I don't think you don't know what they're going to do. If they're going to move on from Eli, then you've got to trade him back, may be the best thing, and stockpile picks to build this team. This is going to be a 2 to 3 year process. If you're keeping Eli, then maybe you still trade back. Maybe you still trade back and see if you could get some picks in the back end of the first and in the second round, where you can grab a quarterback and an O-lineman. There are some decent O-linemen coming out. And if you look at the 3rd, 4th, and 5th ranked offensive linemen in this draft, a lot of the projections have these guys going in the 2nd to 3rd round. So you could sit back and possibly wait. So I think it's in the best interest of the Giants to actually trade back, because they have a lot of needs. O-line, who's going to be Eli's successor? We know it's not going to be Webb. Running back, this is, again, I said it before, this is a very deep running back class. There's a lot to be fixed with the Giants. They may have to do what Hugh Jackson was doing with the Cleveland Browns and just try to stockpile as many picks as they possibly can over the course of the next 2 years.
Just for shits and giggles, real quick, gents, do you have somebody in mind? I know I haven't really done my scouting of college athletes. Usually around this month in February is when I start actually watching tape for the collegiate players. But do you have anybody like specifically right off the bat that you think might trade up to number 2 that needs a quarterback?
Yes, I got the New York Jets. No, I'm sorry, the Cleveland Browns at number 4. I've been saying
they're going to try to go for 1, 2.
I've been saying it. The Browns got the number 4 overall pick. Yeah. I say they will go up to number 2. Stay with the Giants. Go to number 2. Maybe give up an extra 3rd round pick. The Giants go back 2 spots. Pick for another position and maybe possibly get the offensive line. They can either get Connor Williams if he's still available.
Right.
Depending if he passes the Colts or the guard from
I'd be fine with that if he turned out to be a Lane Johnson. I'd be all right with that.
Listen, the Browns may want to go 1 and 2, and they got loads of picks. That's just my opinion. What do you think, Fogg?
That's a possibility, but I mean, Cleveland would have to be sold on what these first 2 draft picks are. I mean, you would have to know that these two guys are what you really need and want. I believe that in my opinion, quarterback, running back is probably what they should go with.
Right.
But like I said, why trade up when you have a substantial amount of depth at the running back position, and a guy like Nick Chubb, a guy like Sonny Michael, a guy like Kerryon Johnson, and Saquon Barkley. Any of these guys you could pair up with Duke Johnson in the backfield as long as you get a running back. You're going to trade DeShone Kizer. You have to if you draft a quarterback. So, I mean, and you'll get compensated with at least a third or fourth round pick for him. So when you think about it, at the end of the Browns are holding the cards. Why trade up for number 2?
No, I think the Browns may want to. Oh, listen, it depends what they got. What they take number 1 overall.
If the Browns are sold on who they want as their first and second picks, and they feel that there's a possibility that they might not get that second person they want, then you trade up. But again, it all depends, what the Browns are thinking. We can all speculate. We're not in their minds. We're not in their war room. We don't know exactly what these guys are looking at. We can only, again, suggest what their specific needs are. It's how they're going to address it. But if they know what they want and they believe that fourth round pick, that fourth pick in the first round may not be there for them, then I could get traded up. Otherwise, what's the point?
Well, let me ask you this, Fogman. Okay, who's the best player? The best player in the draft?
Damn, the best.
I've been hearing a lot of rumblings about maybe the overall best being Bradley Chubb, just because he's your all-in-one package type of player. Practices very well. He's the type of hard worker, blue collar nose that you want on your team. And I got to watch more on him, but I mean, just from what I'm reading about coaches' analysis on him.
I mean, some will say that this player coming out this draft, right?
That who?
Saquon Barkley is the best player coming out the draft, right?
Some would say.
Okay, so if I'm the Browns, knowing that I got the number 1 overall and I want to stop being having the number 1 overall, they have an offensive line as well. I will go with Barkley number 1 overall. And what I would try to do is, okay, if I don't take number 2, then what I can do is I'll settle at number 4 for Don, because we know the coach is not going to trade up. I think we can do that. If you want to go Rosen, that's fine. That's all fine and dandy. And go with your logic, with your plan. And you know what? Let's go with Chubb at round 2, if he lasts that long. Or with the number 4 overall, you can drop back a couple of spots and get Chubb and get more draft picks. You can do that as well. I think the Browns want to get the best player in this draft. And call the Giants. We want the number 2 overall. We'll give you a third round pick.
See, I don't think there's any player. I don't think there's any one specific player that really separated themselves as the best player.
What's the most positive thing the Browns have? They have a receiving corps, pretty good. They got an offensive line. Okay, they have a whole bunch of quarterbacks. Who's the running back? That's going to be a hole. Back to a wide receiver in Johnson. So I think running back fits the bill. Now, of course, you can wait the other guys, but Saquon Barkley is the best play in this year's draft, from what scouts are saying. And so I mean, you can go a whole different running back later if you want, but I feel what the Browns can do, running back at number 2 overall, if they could trade with the Giants and take Rosen right there. The Giants, I'm sure, would not mind going backwards, especially Gettleman. Gettleman said one thing. He was so.
But I get what Tim, I get what you're saying about Rosen, but there's a lot of reports coming out that they're Josh Allen. And you guys heard what Brian and I on Combine 360 had to say about Josh Allen. I'm sticking to my guns on this guy.
Gunslinger.
Wait a minute. Wait, Josh Allen?
He's Josh. Yeah, there's a lot of rumblings that they feel, and I was talking to James Cooper about this, that they feel that they missed the boat with Carson Wentz. So let's go get that guy that nobody's really looking at from a smaller school that could possibly do something and be something big. So if they're sold on Allen, again, what do you got to worry about? You could get Allen as the fourth pick if you want to go Saquon with the first pick and Allen at the fourth pick.
I'm with you, Fab. I'm with you with that.
Not that I agree, but okay.
No, I mean, but
that's what Cleveland does.
I'm with you. Hey, Barkley's the best player in this year's draft, and some people are saying Browns got to get the best player. Get the best player, number one. They can start for your team day one. All right, the third overall, we're gonna have the Indianapolis Colts. We don't know what's going on with Andrew Luck. I know Josh said Luck will be fine, so I'm gonna go with that. Luck is coming back as the backup. What am I taking? I gotta go offensive line. O-line is what I got to get. I got to protect my investment. Connor Williams out of Texas, lineman coming out. He's not. I still say address the O-line. You got to address the O-line to protect your investment.
Yeah, O-line. There's a few clubs that definitely need to bolster that O-line, and it's tough really within these top four picks to see a tackle or a guard go. It really is, because these are more positions for those primo athletes that, skill positions. And with the Colts, they haven't had any talent at linebacker, and the offensive line it could desperately use a talent upgrade as well. But they also gravely miss having edge rushers and players like Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. So for that reason, I really think they might look at Bradley Chubb over here from NC State. He was the Defensive Player of the Year for the ACC, registered 10 sacks. He's not quite as explosive or flexible probably as Myles Garrett, but I think he's a very solid player. And like I said, just previously, a lot of coaches, just raved about his work ethic and how he shows up and just gives 100% at practices. So, if it's not Bradley Chubb, I could see the Colts going Saquon.
Yeah, I'm with you. They're going to have to turn away from Frank Gore at some point. So it's going to be either a running back or a D lineman. And at this point, Bradley Chubb and Saquon Barkley are the two guys that will probably be available there. So I can't say no to any of that. Those are your four best guys coming out are probably Barkley, Rosen, Chubb, and I like Sutton, the wide receiver from.
Yeah, you mentioned him before in the group.
Yeah, so I mean, I think those are your four best guys coming out at the skill positions. Those guys are the ones that are going to go, and I think Chubb at that position is probably going to be it.
Timmy, you got the mute on. It's a virus. I know. It's Google Hangouts. They hate you. They know you're trolling, so they try to keep you on mute.
Man. Get 'em. I do, man. They be out to get me, Josh. I've been cool. Season's over. I'm in humble state now. Listen, I'm being nice. God. Okay. Number 4 overall, we got the Denver Broncos, bro. Now I'm gonna tell you this right now, Josh. I think it's problems. They have quarterback issues. They're talking about releasing
we're 4, right? This is the Browns again.
Oh, excuse me, number 4. Excuse me.
Yeah.
That's
4-4.
trading with the Browns up and down.
Well, we kind of did the Browns already.
Yeah, I guess we kind of covered them in the. We can move on to 5. Let's do it. F it.
Denver. We go with Denver. I'll say this. Bus, according to John Elway, he feels like it. I don't know how much they're gonna have to try to give him another chance next year. There's talks about releasing Demaryius Thomas. There's talks about Emmanuel Sanders as well. Their third receiver, Cody Lattimore, is also a free agent. I see a lot of holes at the wide receiver position. Big boy. Maybe Sutton, the wide receiver. Really? I mean, if you're gonna have Patrick Lynch there, or Simeon, you gotta have somebody he could throw the ball to. So I'm gonna go with the wide receiver position.
Yeah, it's a little crazy because Denver desperately needs guards and tackles, so that whole O-line needs to be revamped. And at the same time, they probably need a quarterback, Tim. They got 3 young quarterbacks on the roster, but they're still unsure about all 3. They drafted Chad Kelly as Mr. Irrelevant last year, and we still don't know what we're gonna get out of him. I was very positive and optimistic about Kelly coming in, but with the injury, we really haven't seen him take the gridiron. So with this pick, honestly, I think the Broncos maybe should bite the bullet and be the first team to go into that little tackle guard position. That Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame, he's getting a lot of raves. Arguably the best available prospect when it comes to Notre Dame. Lock up that O-line, man, especially if you really think you have QBs in place, one of the 3 is going to be your future, or hey, maybe they go for the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes. You're going to need to protect one of them. It doesn't matter if it's a vet or a young guy. You got to protect them. So start bolstering that O-line. Get some Quentin Nelson up in there, and they already got the defense intact, and they got nice wideouts. There's no reason they can't just produce some of that O-line and build the trenches, and they can be instant contenders again next season.
Yeah, it's kind of O-line is I agree with Tim. They need a wide receiver. Cortland Sutton would be a very good grab there. Mm-hmm. But that offensive line really struggled. The defensive line, too. I mean, you saw how bad losing Malik Jackson to Jacksonville really hurt them. So I'm with you with Quentin Nelson. I could also see Deron Payne from Alabama, the defensive tackle over there. I could see him making a quick jump and them reaching out and possibly grabbing him. So they got holes to fill. Again, the quarterback position, they got young quarterbacks to take a look at it. It's all a matter of how they feel. Again, we're speculating at this point because Denver's another team. They have a decent amount of holes that they have to fill. But I think offensive line, guard especially, and D tackle are 2 positions that they really need to hit hard because those are 2 positions where they struggle in from a rushing aspect this season and from stopping the run.
For our New York Jets fan, Sheldon, Trisha, and Hunt, they want to know about the number 6 overall pick.
It doesn't matter. They're still going to suck and finish no better than 6-10 next year.
Nah, listen. Back. The GM is back. I love what they did this year with Josh McCown. They're asking him to come back. So I'm going to say this.
Yeah, let's get the guy who had the greatest. Let's leave it to the Jets to have 2 back-to-back seasons where they have quarterbacks have anomaly career years in McCown and Fitzpatrick. Yeah, let's leave it. We saw what bringing Fitzpatrick did, who was already 11 years, 12 years into the league. Now let's bring McCown back, who's 12, 13 years into the league and had his best season ever accidentally.
Wait a minute. The Jets were at a certain point in time. They was in the playoff race. I'm not saying McCown
in the first quarter of the season. After the first 4 games, you're right, Tim. They were in the playoff race. So it was about 12 or 13 other teams.
Okay, but here's the thing, Fog.
Get to the Broncos.
Josh McCown is a great quarterback.
No, he's not.
Said,
He's the Jets pick. Make the Jets fans happy. Let's go.
I'm saying the quarterback,
Ooh.
a Heisman Trophy winner. I'm saying with listen, he has New York attitude. Listen, Josh loves him. I love him. Bogman, you just like him. I mean, listen. We don't know what's going. Bryce Petty will not be there. I don't want to know his name. The guy from Penn State that is, oh my God, horrible. Who loves hitting fans with the football at practice. Quarterback. It's got to be at number 6 overall. Baker Mayfield to the New York Jets. Mark my words.
Tim, I would love nothing more than to see Baker Mayfield in MetLife Stadium. If it's not going to be in blue, that's okay. You know what? I'll be half happy just to see it in green. That's fine with it. It's a New York team. Baker Mayfield can succeed. That would be lovely. But other than that, I don't know. If they don't go quarterback, they're probably going to go defensive end. They got to fix up that line because they got rid of Sheldon. Muhammad Wilkerson is over there. He's a head case. Jet up.
I guess you got to get a quarterback. I don't know if Baker Mayfield is the guy.
Baker Mayfield.
You guys know how I feel about him. He's a better version of Johnny Manziel from the standpoint that he's not going out partying and doing the type of coke lines that Michael Irvin was doing. But I just I'm sorry, Tim. I had to. It was there. It was a layup. I don't think he's the answer, but yeah, I do think they should go quarterback. I quite honestly, I think Lamar Jackson would be a great fit there with the way they use Bilal Powell, with the way Robbie Anderson has really emerged, and the safety valve in Safarian Jenkins. They actually might be a good quarterback away from actually being a competitive team, especially with the way Bulls had that defense playing this year. So, yeah, I would say quarterback would probably be a very good selection. The problem is, what are they going to do? They've already wasted the last 2 years on quarterbacks.
It's true.
Listen.
That's what you get when you have bad ownership. Tim, we better get to these wild card picks before the CEO starts cutting off our ties and paychecks.
She's already ready to kick my ass out about the Jets comments. So yeah, let's make this quick.
If we can wrap this up, that would be great.
Oh man, see, you guys gotta behave. You gotta behave.
What I say?
All right.
What I say?
All right. We going to wild card. Oh, first of all, we have to go with what want the top seeded seed next week. Period. Excuse me. My opinion. Nobody want to see the Jacksonville Jaguars because of that defense. And on the NFC side, in my opinion, nobody want to see the New Orleans Saints, who I believe is the most complete team.
On the NFC side, it's a juggle, man. I don't think anybody wants to see anybody in the NFC at this point. Any one of those teams, with the exception of the Eagles, unfortunately, because of the quarterback situation. Any one of those teams could go to the Super Bowl this year. It's that even. In the AFC, honestly, nobody wants to see. I'm with you, Tim. Nobody wants to see Jacksonville, but if you're New England, you got to go from that warm weather to that cold ass weather in New England. And while the running game can travel, the defense can travel. They're going to have to, whoever plays New England is going to have to put together a perfect game. And unfortunately, the only time we've seen Jacksonville put together a perfect game was when they beat the Steelers down.
You know, historically speaking, it's funny, you know, just because it's Andy Reid and LOL, all that shit. But with Kansas City, honestly, they've been playing great ball offensively, and even their defense has greatly picked it up, despite, you know, allowing, I think, 20-plus points to Denver. But that's due to most of their starters being set. So we're really going to get into that, you know, after this. Got a lot of analysis typed up for these wild card games coming up this weekend. But overall, my sleeper in the AFC would be the Chiefs. I really don't have faith in the Bills. The Jags obviously could be, you know, one that absolutely goes deep as well. I just don't have a lot of faith in Bortles. If he can be a game manager and not fuck it up and just hold the ball and let the defense do most of the work and Fournette run for him, and he can just make those key passes and just do what he has to do, they could go far. But out of the NFC, I'm actually afraid of the Panthers for being a lower seed. The Panthers are getting it all together right now. Cam has been playing great ball. He's been a little bit inconsistent. We get that from Cam a lot, you know, kind of like Jameis. But usually when he has a bad week, he picks it right up. And he did just have kind of a lackluster week at last outing against Atlanta. So they've had their number a little bit. But, you know, if the Saints team can get past, or I'm sorry, this Panthers team can get past the Saints at the Superdome, that could be scary, especially when they're going to face an Eagles team that's having Foles run the team right now. You know, they could advance pretty far. So, Tim, let's get into it. You want to break us into the wild card games, though?
Yes. I'm going at you right now. Okay. The Tennessee Titans visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to take the Chiefs at home. The Chiefs are when they home. It's going to be rocking. The Titans, they're hurt, banged up. The Montgomery might not even play. Derrick Henry is not the type of explosive running back. The Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs. Pretty easy. Tennessee's been inconsistent all year. They backed into the playoffs this year, so Chiefs have been playing good football, like Josh said, for the last 3 weeks. So, Chiefs.
Well, damn, fellas, I'm so used to doing my pick'em, so I got a little analysis written up. You know, let me just do this real quick. So, one of the issues with the Titans this season has been Mariota, his performance. He has to be consistent. Career lows in touchdowns, passer rating, career high in interceptions. He did rush for 312 yards and 5 touchdowns, but it's 5.2 yards per carry, also a career low. The best game Mariota had this year was probably Week 15, and that was in a loss to the 49ers with a passer rating of 110.8. This is where consistency comes into play, though. The week before, he just completed half his passes and had a passer rating of 39.6, losing to the Cardinals. The week after the 49ers game, he had a 56.4 completion percentage and a passer rating of 67.8 and a loss to the Rams. Mariota is most likely playing through injury, and I wouldn't be surprised at more offseason surgery to clean up that leg he got in 2016 of December. He's not the only issue. Of the 12 playoff teams, only 2 teams have allowed more points than they've scored, the Bills and the Titans. They're lucky to finish at 9-7. If you go by Football Outsiders' Pythagorean wins formula, which is based solely at points scored, points allowed, the Titans were expected to win 7.4 wins. They're 20th in passing, 8th in the run department, and it's unclear if Murray is going to play. He's recovering from injury, so it could be a game in which Derrick Henry involves and shows that he can be a starter as a 3-down back. But they're most likely going to lean on the run game. It's the best they can do. The Chiefs' defense is terrible. They ranked dead last in the run. Kansas City's closed out 4 straight wins to end the season, and they held off the streaking Chargers, which is good. That's reason for optimism as well in the Chiefs' defense. And they have allowed only 15, 13, and 13 before giving up those 24 points to Denver on Sunday. So they've generated 12 turnovers in that span after only having 14 turnovers in the previous 12 games. That's scary considering the Chiefs started the season number 1 offense, number 19 defense. So it's going to be a good game. But ultimately in this one, I have Kansas City taking this one 32-22.
All right, next game. We're going to Bills. The surprise Buffalo Bills visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars. We all are a fan of Hobbs. We all know he's a dedicated 2MW fan to the Buffalo Bills. This is a stop. This is a good year. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will beat the Buffalo Bills at home. McCoy is day to day. We don't know how much he's going to play. I still don't trust Tyrod Taylor. You know, and then we got a guy named Marcel Davies. You know, Doug Monroe. Those are former Buffalo Bills. They got a chip on their shoulder. And it's just too much to roll the way.
I agree, Jacksonville. I do want to say this. I owe Hobbs a huge apology because I laughed at him from about week 6 or week 7 on. His dedication as a fan was just it was entertaining. It was nice to see. I just felt that the team did not have the opportunity to make the playoffs. Hobbs, I apologize, but like Tim said, the run ends. Jacksonville is probably going to steamroll them at this point.
An apology, and we do this all the time, and I get now one apology when oh my God, you got to be kidding. You serious?
We had this conversation, Tim, last week, I think. You're a Cowboys fan, I'm an Eagles fan. We have an understanding here.
Nah, you ain't getting shit from me, let's be honest. Tim and Fox, let's be honest. The Bills shouldn't even be here. There's a reason the head coach had no problem starting Nathan Peterman in the middle of the season. He knew exactly what he had employed. And even if they did make it, which happened by the margin of a hangnail, do you suspect they're really going to go that deep? The Ravens had a 97% chance of making the playoffs. All they needed to do was beat the Bengals, and they were in. For the Bills, they needed a lot of help to get in. For the first time since '99, it was only a 15% chance of ending the drought. They did the part to come out of Miami. And for 59 minutes, the Ravens did the same against the Bengals until that happened. Buffalo's going to attempt to win a playoff game for the first time since '95. I'm sorry, the Jaguars, they still employ one of the league's best defenses, scoring up against a Buffalo squad that puts up 302 total yards a game. The Jets produce more offensively. Early in the season, we raved about Buffalo's defense. Oh, they're practicing tackling. Maybe that's why they're so good at 3-0. Oh, how quickly things change after a few weeks in the NFL season. The Bills are now ranked as 26 overall defensively. Complement their offense, allowing 355 total yards a game. It's true. The Jaguars are trying to ride on the success of their defense and Blake Bortles, but this isn't a contest in which I see the Jags having too many struggles. Jacksonville, 29-17. Pack 'em. Pack 'em, Bills fans.
All right, next game. Falcons at the LA Rams. This is a hard one. There's so many reasons why I want to choose the Rams because of the way the Falcons has been playing the last couple of weeks. Terrible. Off his first playoff game. First playoff game. But this is Wade Phillips. It's an experience. But I'm going with the upset here. I'm going with the experienced Atlanta Falcons to win at the Rams. I really do think Julio Jones is gonna be one hard thing to cover. They have to go with that running game with Freeman, and I think the defense for the Falcons can contain Gurley. Offensive passing that ball. See, this is where experience comes to play. And Gurley's been the guy who's been carrying the Rams offense, to MVP. So I'm gonna say Falcons win this game.
Oh God, I don't want to say the Falcons win this game because there's certain individuals out there who are Falcons fans who have paraded the Falcons in front of me, and I would love for nothing more than the Rams to just bull rush and knock the feathers off of these birds. But it is going to be – it's the Gurley show. And Todd Gurley, if you're going to stack 8, you're going to try to stop him, and you're going to force Jared Goff to beat you. And again, I'm not a believer in Jared Goff. I think he's had a pretty good season this season, but I just don't believe in him. And not for nothing, when the Rams have faced quality offenses, they've given up a ton of points. You look, I mean, last week, again, everything was kind of sealed, but you still gave up 34 points to the 49ers. You gave up 23 to the Tennessee Titans, and we were just discussing how inconsistent they are. You gave up 43 to the Eagles on your home turf. The Cardinals, who have no offensive weapons, put up 16 points. The Saints were able to come in and put up 20 on them. So they really haven't faced any big offenses, but when they have, they've given up points, and they benefited because those games Todd Gurley had spectacular scoring games. Playoff is a different scenario. Atlanta's going to be ready. They're going to have to prepare for Gurley. They've got the speed at the linebacker position to cover him going out for passes, and they've got the front seven that could slow him down enough to force the ball be put in Goff's hands and force him to win the game. Put them upset.
Yeah, the Falcons, they're coming off a Super Bowl loss, we all know. So a lot of Falcons players, they have playoff experience, especially in the big game. The Rams, they haven't seen the playoffs since 2004. Sean McVay, he's a baby. He's in his first season as an NFL head coach. Ripe young age of 31. He actually turns 32 on the 24th, so y'all better get him something nice, maybe a nice buttercream muffin or something like that. For the Falcons, though, they don't employ the same unstoppable offense that carried them to the big game last year. They remain above average, though. With Steve Sarkisian replacing Shanahan, the Falcons ranked 8th in passing, 13th in rushing. Matt Ryan, who was the league MVP last season, damn, what happened with this guy? 849 less yards, 18 less touchdowns, and 5 more picks. It's alarming when one of the best wide receivers in the league only records 3 touchdowns on the year through 88 receptions, while the other receiver in Sanu has 5. The Rams do not have a slouch passing defense at all. They only allow 217 yards a game. To put it into perspective, if the Rams allowed just 10 less yards a game, they'd have a top 6 passing defense. The run defense is where the worry sets in for the Rams. They rank 28 there, allowing about $122 a game. So in the past 2 games, before resting starters, the Rams held the Seahawks to 78 rushing yards and the Titans to 97. And I believe this is a young team that's going to be fired up for their first home playoff game in quite a long time for this organization. For that reason, I have the Rams taking it 33-24.
I know why Fogman wants the Rams. He wants the Rams to go to the cold weather in Philadelphia. I know what's going on. I'm watching you, Fog. I see you, man. It's all good. I think the same way. I know. All right. Last game. Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers visiting the New Orleans Saints. Whew. This is hard. Nah, it's not hard. We're talking about New Orleans with bunches. Wide receiver. Lattimore has that on check. Okay, James Stewart. McCaffrey, he's still the ultimate weapon. I've already saw the Panthers. They know how to contain that. New Orleans home. This is maybe Drew Brees' last New Orleans last season, his last playoff ever. He may be tired. Who knows? He's 40 years old. The Saints and the Patriots will be in the Super Bowl. So, with that being said, I'm going with New Orleans beating the Carolina Panthers.
It's very hard in the NFL to sweep a team. Happens very few times. And the Saints have managed to win 2 games this season against Carolina. This is a different Panthers team right now. And they're going to play the Saints extremely tough. But I'm with you, Tim. I think I have to give the edge to the offense. I've got to give the edge to the way the Saints have played defense this season, something they haven't seemed to know how to do in the last 5 years. And I think they have enough with that running game between Ingram and Kamara that they can offset anything Carolina can throw at them. The Saints are going to go for the sweep, the trifecta, and win a third game against Carolina.
Yeah, the Panthers have fallen twice to the Saints this season. Panthers defense has allowed the Saints to score 34 and 31 in each of those games. So, which is more odd, though, is that Cam had a worse outing against the Saints when he was home compared to on the road in the Superdome. At home, he went 17 for 26, $167, and 3 picks. In Week 13 on the road, he went 17 for 27, $183, and 2 touchdowns. Still losing 31-21. But the good news is that Cam Newton does have Greg Olsen healthy and back in the lineup for the playoffs. But what is concerning, seeing Cam go the 14 for 34 and the 3 picks of the Falcons in just last week. It appeared the Panthers' offense was out of whack, and optimism should say a couple practices will work those kinks out. But the bad news for the Panthers is they won't have a walk in the park to make sure they've gotten their wrinkles all worked out. They're going against the Saints team that features the league's number 2 offense and number 7 defense, emerging from a rough start of the season. Saints have been known for being a vertical threat team ever since Drew Brees has been there. But this season, the emergence of Alvin Kamara has made this team even more of a versatile threat, which is scary. Ingram and Kamara becoming the first tandem of running backs in NFL history to eclipse the 1,500 yards from scrimmage all in the same season. So all signs point to Houday moving on in this one, man. Saints taking it 35-20 in my book, completing that trifecta.
Oh, well, listen, that concludes our playoff picks for the weekend, the wild card weekend. Listen, it's going to be strange because I'll have quarterbacks. This is the first time in the playoffs. He has the vets. It's going to be fun. And what's going to be, you know what? We have not mentioned that Minnesota is hosting the Super Bowl this year, and they have the number 1 seed. We haven't mentioned that at all. So just imagine, number 2 seed. Damn, look, Wagner came in with the number 2 sign. Listen,
I gotta get enough. I gotta make do with what I can right now because I got a bad feeling that Philly's going to be one and done.
Well, listen, you got the number 1 seed. If everything falls in place, okay. The Rams, I believe.
Shit, who we're going to be playing? We still have Nick Foles at quarterback.
They will be playing the Panthers.
Oh.
Yeah. You're gonna have
What a Saints. Yeah. Number 1, yeah, number 5 or 4. Atlanta. If Atlanta advances,
yep,
then to play that.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, listen. Your Eagles is a different. The defense will win this game for them. It's going to have to hold some good position to not have to do so much. He's going to have to make it comfortable for him. It's a cold weather game. Run that football. I think like one of my buddies who's a big Eagles fan, we was talking. I don't think the Saints. I really don't play outdoors. Matter of fact, the last time the Saints and the Falcons played the Eagles in a cold weather game, they lost. Is a big factor. You're not gonna see that those greatest shows on earth throwing that ball 20 times. You're gonna see running that football and physical defense, and I think the Eagles got that.
I hope so.
See how nice I am? You see how nice I am?
I'm not optimistic. It's
I want to see you. I'm humble now.
We're Cowboys we can't help it but be realists.
Death taxes and the Eagles failing is become something of a guarantee at this point.
Listen, Tim, I've lived through a decade of Jerry Reese. All right? You know the pain in his heart?
I don't want to hear about no pain. You won 2 Super Bowls. Shut up.
You know what? I'm gonna say something I haven't said at all. I'm gonna say it for the first time right here. I've been quiet. I've been humble. I'm gonna say it. We haven't won shit in 23 fucking years. I should be pissed the fuck off. Somewhere, 23 years. I gotta hear this. 20 years. My God. And what happened?
I don't understand how you should be mad. I've won never. Ever. Like never.
Tim,
not never. Cat Williams.
20
Not
years,
never.
20 years is barely legal. Don't worry about it. You're all right.
God.
It's not that long. 20 years.
I apologize, Fox. You guys haven't won.
22 years. He can at least take shots for his pain. At
22 odd. They don't know anything. They're still young. What do they know about love?
But I'm sorry, Fox. You guys haven't won. Absolutely right.
All right, folks.
You know,
that pretty much wraps it up for us. And Fox, Tim, you guys got any departing words for the fans that just join us every night? They just love us so
Marvin
much.
Lewis still has a job. Let that sink in. Max, I'm
hey,
sorry.
you know what?
Sorry.
Hey, should we ask Marvin Lewis to come on the show next week?
Yeah, I think Marvin Lewis can make it. He doesn't have too much that he's prepping for.
He's got nothing but time on his hands at this point and a new contract.
I think he just walks into the freaking offices every year with the same exact playbook since 2002. And
I
he's
have an idea. Let's MW brother Maxwell, if he can have at least 3 questions for Marvin Lewis, and we'll ask him.
I think so. I think that's a great idea.
That is an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get him on personally to ask him.
Hey, you never know.
I think that wraps it up for us, gentlemen. We're kind of tugging away at the clock here for the night, so we will get out of everyone's hair. Thank you for joining us tonight. You know, taking time out of your schedule. We always appreciate the viewers in the comments. So, thank you very much. We always appreciate it. And fellas, no more Thursday pick'ems for Tim and I. Sadly enough, Thursday season's over. So we will see you knuckleheads next Tuesday. Tune in.
Yes.